There is a sort of relationship, obviously, with plants and history and politics going back to the first botanical expeditions at the beginning of colonialism, where European botanists and scientists went on excursions to classify, and then name them. And so there is a sort of violence, I suppose, that continues from this first act of naming and appropriating the plants into a European classification system. I began looking at plants more generally as implicated in our history, and I was looking at really human-plant entanglements. So, for example, there is a tree in Cape Town, a wild almond tree, that was planted in the 1660s when the first Dutch settlers arrived and set up a garden to replenish the ships going around Africa to return to Europe on their trade missions. And this sort of fields and garden was actually situated in an area that already had an indigenous population, the Kwekwe. So the Dutch planted a wild almond tree hedge, a kilometer-long hedge, around this garden to protect it. So in a sense, one of the first acts of colonial violence was the planting of this garden. When I was visiting Congo for the first time, I came across this plant, which is called Artemisia afra. I was told that it helps to treat and prevent malaria, and that a group of women south of Lubumbashi is cultivating it and is preparing it as a tea. And as I was researching this, I realized that actually there is a sort of guideline by the World Health Organization not to use it. So there is a larger question here for me around extractivism and sort of modernity's relationship to extraction of resources from nature.
Here I am in a court of law, accused of a crime of healing people.
I came across the research that Sonia Witt was responsible for and was heading about plants moving up in the mountain regions due to climate change. And for me, what is interesting about this is that, a few things, is that it's not producing the same kinds of images of climate change that we are used to, which are fires and floods mainly, the kind of extremes that climate change produces. But rather, this is something that happens at high altitude, far away from the gaze, from the media. It's a very slow process of plants, which we don't consider as active participants in our life anyway, and which we also consider to be stationary and not moving, but they do move, they do migrate over time if the conditions are right. And so for me, it was interesting through this project to find new ways of representing and engaging with climate change visually